Yeah, man. No 4 minute intro, no 5 minute intro. Straight to brass tacks tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Straight to brass tacks. We're using this 30-second, whatever intro they got over here, you know what I mean? And kind of get into this Cowboys talk. You know what it does? It buys us more time to talk about the Cowboys and maybe a little bit extra time for some Spoonie sermon tonight. I know you, before you're in the back office here, Professor O, Spoonie's like, hey, I'm just letting y'all know tonight. I'm like, yeah, I kind of had a feeling it was coming.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I'm looking
tonight we'll
forward to
be
it.
having a team meeting. Tonight will be a team meeting.
oh, speaking of team meetings, Professor, you see that picture I dropped of Liam and Cooper at the game?
Yeah, they were at the game.
No mask.
No masks. You think they'd be
What's
like
mask?
prepared? I mean, the team said that they want the players, especially around holidays, to bubble up, be safe. Micah just went out to a game. Micah's on the COVID list.
Right.
Cooper and Lamb are at the game. No masks. Hopefully, knock on wood, they're good. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is it's cool. Like, Cooper, if you don't want to get vaccinated, that's fine. But stay your goofy ass at home then.
Oh, Mary's hot tonight. Mary out the gate.
Like,
said,
pick one, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and look, and as far as that, goes and is pertained to, I mean, Micah did have a mask at least.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he did have that. But yeah, man, I was like, I mean, we already had to just go to a game and go through that. And obviously, in this time of this temperament, man, everybody's going to be a little on edge, if you will, about these movements and everything. A lot of keep them locked up, the whole nine and whatnot. Like I said, Samuel, all right. So, man, put the vaccine in the Gatorade. Oh man, I got voices in the building. Robert Roberts, what's going on? Appreciate you typing in. The mod extraordinary Elazar Mendoza's in the building.
Yeah.
DQ151. Man, you don't mess with that 151. Man, I ain't worried about that, man. Get out of here. We're gonna talk too
but
political.
the protocol is, there's a certain protocol, and if he's vaccinated, it's different versus not. So it kept him out of 2 games already this year. So
right, big facts. But with that being said, man, y'all know what it is, man. Give it a like, give it a share. We're letting this thing build up a little bit instead of doing this little whole 5-minute countdown. 30 seconds. We're right into it. In your face live, talking to y'all. Man, I guess we'll start with the Cardinals. I guess we'll start with the Cardinals game tonight because you know what? Why not? Why not, Mary? Mary, the Cardinals game.
I mean, it's just extremely puzzling why they purposely do things that don't work. Like, they played right into the defense's hands again. Yeah. It was extremely conservative. Like, it's extremely puzzling to see what they can do and for them to just not do it. Like, I understand not every team is the NFC East. Like, Washington is trash, Eagles are trash, Giants are trash. I understand we're not going to put up 40 on every single defense on every team. I get that. I don't expect that. But I do expect with the QB we have, with the weapons we have, that they move the ball consistently. And in these losses that they've had, the offense have struggled way too much. And it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I did some shows with my brother from another in Big Game James, and we would talk about Stephen Jones, and he would sign guys, and we called them shut up signings. Well, you wanted me to sign a safety, well, shut up, right? We signed one, leave me alone. And I kind of feel like, and I tweeted this earlier today, I was like, it's like Kellen Moore, like the Washington game before the Cardinals game. He's like, all right, you want me to run to here? Shut up. I called the play how y'all wanted me to. I ran to the outside and everything. Now I'm going to get back to my business over here. And then we saw what happened. Professor O, Cardinals game. You sure? Well, before I get to you, let me get Spoonie to go. Not your sermon yet, Spoonie. I'm getting to because I know you were actually sharing some nice good tidbits with us from the All 22. We were kind of discussing that today. We'll kind of get into some of that film reel talk. Go ahead there, Spoon.
Well, he said we was asked, and we displayed it on Sunday. It was a total embarrassment. In my opinion, we didn't play to our potential. The Cardinals' defense was bleeding, and we put a Band-Aid over it instead of attacking that blood where that blood's coming from, and that was the secondary. We didn't do a good job at all. hats off to the defense. Again, you guys played your asses off. You came through when you needed to try to come through. Hell, I mean, you gave us back the ball at the end, but the refs took it away from us. Let's just be honest about that part, at least.
Yeah.
But I will say this: when are we going to be tired of when this is a statement game? A statement game means that we all show up at the same time. It's not just the players; it's the coaching staff as well. What I saw on Sunday was just one part of this team who showed up. Regardless of the mistakes that were made on the offensive side, there was no urgency, and we just didn't attack the way we should have attacked.
You know, and back to your point there, Spoon, about statement game. Who said it was a statement game? They did, in-house.
Yeah, we did.
All week.
All week.
Maybe kind of almost like they were trying to pump themselves up a little bit about the game or whatnot. Yeah, interesting times. Now, Sims bring up a good point here. This is actually what we was about to talk about as I was pivoting over to O. One of the plays that O actually highlighted in the all 22 we kind of looked at was the Buda Baker figured out the bubble screen and the gap runs. But let's go back to the bubble screen first, which was early in the game, right? And, you know, he almost picked it and went and everything. And now kind of walk us through what you saw with the all 22 tape and this alignment that we talked about on our Twitter space. If y'all didn't join us the other night with me and Matt, we had a great Twitter. That's when you was in the building as well. Had a great Twitter space kind of talking about this, but you backed it up with some tape and we kind of went through that today.
Right. Yeah. So I saw it live, like immediately after I saw the play. I'm like, what is that personnel package? So we were in 10 formation. So we had one back, no tight ends. Technically there was a tight end, but they're split out wide. So they're classified as wide receivers. But on the right side of the field, you have Sean McEwen, Jeremy Sprinkle, Connor McGovern, and CeeDee Lamb. Who do you think the ball is going to go to? Do you think that they're going to send Connor McGovern downfield on a deep route? Do you think that they're going to send Sprinkle? We've thrown him 4 passes the entire season.
Right.
We love to throw screen passes. You have 3 big bodies, 2 of them directly in front of CeeDee Lamb. And as soon as the ball snapped, Lamb immediately hops backwards. It didn't take any game preparation or any game film study to see that personnel alignment and say, something's up.
Right.
Something's up. Who's over there? And as soon as you see Connor McGovern split out wide, you know it's most likely going to be some play that they're throwing, with him as a lead blocker. Not to mention, you have a defensive back who's going to be significantly faster, significantly more elusive. He's not going to block him in the open field anyways. Best case scenario, he's just in the way. So as soon as Buda sees that alignment, he immediately jumps the route. He actually broke too quickly on it, or as a pick 6. We're lucky that he jumped as quickly as he did on the route. But again, every single fan in the stadium could see that personnel package and say, clearly something's up. They're throwing the ball to Lamb. They're doing some type of play to Lamb. They're not going to split all these big bodies there in front of it. It's just stupid. You're just never going to get away with that. And we've talked about this for 3 or 4 weeks now on both the Twitter spaces and here. We keep throwing the screen pass, which is the least effective pass play in football, especially the wide receiver screen in particular. Running back screens are okay. Tight end screens are actually highly effective. But wide receiver screens, not at all. We keep throwing them. We've yet to pump fake the wide receiver screen and hit the lead blocker, sneaking upfield to make a block. That route should be money, so I'm hoping we go back to it. But yeah, it's frustrating. And then one of the things that's really frustrating watching the All-22 is we're trying to evaluate why is Cooper not getting the targets? Why are we not able to use these receivers effectively the way that we think we should be able to, especially when you look at the way that Cooper Kupp's used, or you look at the way that Devontae Adams or any of these top flight wide receivers, we're not using our receivers the same way. The effort's bad from the receivers. I'm not trying to give any or deflect any blame from Kellen Moore because the scheme's bad. The route concepts are bad. I'm not trying to deflect away from Dak because Dak's checking down. He's going through his reads too quickly. But if you watch the wide receivers specifically, there's a lot of jogging. There's a lot of taking plays off. There's a lot of not blocking on run plays. They're not playing hard right now. So it's really frustrating to watch. And especially when you're coming to the media saying, I want targets, I want the ball. Show me then. Because there was a situation I put in our group. I'm sorry we don't have the video to show you right now, but it's a goal line situation. We're in the red zone. We ended up throwing to Dalton Schultz, who dropped the ball. But Amari Cooper's on the right side, one-on-one coverage, and jogs the slant route. Literally jogs it. If he runs even 3/4 speed, it's an easy pitch and catch because the defense back's off. He's not even pressing him at the line. It's a super easy pass. Dak gets the snap, glances there for a second, and immediately goes away because Coop's not running hard.
Right.
That's a goal line situation. That's money as a wide receiver. You should be I'm one-on-one coverage. I'm a great route runner. This is my time. and Dak just glances and went away from it. Had Dak stayed on the read a little bit longer, he probably can still throw it and hit it. But again, Cooper not immediately jumping off the route, especially on a quick passing concept, he can't wait there. So we're seeing that across the board. There was plays where one was the opposite. It was Michael Gallup on the left side, at least on the TV coverage. He jogs a slant. Like the receivers are just not running hard. So when you have bad route concepts, a quarterback rushing through his reads and receivers not running full speed, it's not a good combination.
Yeah, and I kind of deep dived in that before we got on tonight. And, because everything we kind of saw was, well, here's what's Cooper's targets and catches versus, quote unquote, elite receivers within the league. And I was like, well, I don't really see them talking about Lamb, though. So I went and dug up. I said, let me go see what Lamb's is. Because obviously he's like 1,000 yards, a little over 1,000 and whatnot. So, he's been targeted 118 times. Lamb has 470. Let me look here. 77 receptions. Right? That's 47 extra targets more, within that over his, actual receptions. And then you go down to, Cooper, who has 97 targets, right? 63 receptions. So it's only 26 extra targets over receptions there. But I mean, my goodness, when you talk about 47, that's almost as many targets that turn into nothing as catches as Cooper has. Maybe this offense has been more focal, and maybe it's not been talked about enough of them forcing, let's take a commercial break, bro. Anyways, but them forcing Lamb to be that number one, maybe so. And I'm not saying that Lamb can't be a number one, but maybe they're forcing it that way. And we even kind of talked about this throughout the year. If you've listened to us and followed us, at times things kind of went bad when they were forcing the ball to Lamb. Like he might drop an interception, or Dak might miss him high, he's forcing the ball, whatever the case may be. Now, albeit within that context, obviously Cooper missed a game, and then the game after that, the Saints, right? And in that Saints game, he only played 15 snaps. He was still labored from the COVID situation, or his numbers are probably a little bit higher. But what it tells me when I look at that is, maybe it's not the fact that they're trying to force it that way, right? I think what it is that they've shifted more to Lamb than they have Cooper. One of the big conundrums in the bill we talked about is that they wanted to pinstrike and do some things, and we talked about this a little bit with Cooper's contract. Well, they get out of it this year, scot-free, basically. And maybe the elevation of Lamb is some of these things within the diagram of what they're calling to what they're doing and how they're spreading the ball. Maybe has something to do with that.
Absolutely stupid. We'll never.
I agree. I'm spitballing. Yeah, facts. And like I said, I'm spitballing here, but to a certain extent on that back end. But I'm just saying, when you have 47 more targets without receptions with Lamb versus, which is less than 20 which is close to less than 20 of the receptions of Cooper, there's a problem. And I think a lot of people are taking what we're hearing from Cooper this week. If you went a couple of weeks back, though, Cooper said the same thing. He's like, we're not calling cover 3 because they got into this, well, Dak's not finding him, right? Or, something's wrong with Dak. And it's like, Cooper said this 2 weeks ago. He said, we're not calling cover 2 beaters and route concepts and different things like that. Another thing, too, kind of going through the all 22, on top of everything you said, Matt, spacing at times with these play calls is atrocious. Mm-hmm. The receivers are too close to each other. The route concepts are too close in the vicinity. They're not spaced out enough. And just things are kind of out of sync. So I'll ask the question, because I put the tweet out there. I said, to me, this more Cooper thing starting to give me Dez Linehan vibes a little bit. Too much, too little, on point. Y'all's thoughts?
I don't know if it's gotten to that extent yet. Mm-hmm. Just because
I just said vibes. I'm not saying it's
I don't think it's gotten to that extent. I could see where you get the vibes though, just because he's clearly frustrated and he's not a guy that would normally say anything like that. So for him to say it, he's being honest, and I appreciate it. And if he's saying it to me, I don't think he's the only one that thinks it either.
That's a good point. It's a good point. Matt, what do you?
I definitely get the vibe. Like he's clearly frustrated. You can tell by his body language. Like what was it, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, Dak's yelling at him and Coop just was like, whatever. Like, he didn't care. He's frustrated right now, and I understand that if you're a playmaker and you think I can add more to the team and our offense is slumping, get me the ball. Like, I understand being frustrated. I was a wide receiver. I wanted the ball every play. I always thought I was open. I think I was, but I always thought I was open. And yeah, so I mean, I understand that, but I did want to touch on one thing. Somebody in the chat said, well, what are the targets per game or the targets per minute? The difference in games, because Coop played 14 games and Lamb's played 15.
Yeah.
Lamb's getting 7.8 targets per game and Coop's getting 6.86. So it's literally less than one target difference per game. It's just a matter of Coop playing less games. And then when he played the other game, like you mentioned, it was really like a third of a game.
I can give you, and maybe
I got a question too.
Real quick. I got you. Let me hit this. Here's their last five, right? Last five, Amari Cooper, 27 catches on 41 attempts, or 41 targets. Cooper, 19 catches on 32 targets in the last 5 games. So 41 versus 32 targets in the last 5. Go ahead, Mary.
Okay, so I also think it's important to think about at what points in the game they're getting the targets, which I don't know. Maybe if Matt O knows, he can tell me. But also, my original question was, I feel like a lot of wide receiver targets went to Zeke, especially like when his knee was hurting and they were forcing him the ball like on the outside. And I'm like, why are you giving it to him? He shouldn't even be in the game. Like, am I the only one that feels that way? Because he was getting the ball, like somebody should have been in that spot, not Zeke. Whether it was Tony or CD, like he was getting targets he shouldn't have been getting.
I mean, that's a good point, though.
Yeah.
Not even just the Zeke angle of it. You have to keep in mind, Devontae Adams is the guy in Green Bay in the passing attack. Mm-hmm. There's not a Gallup, Lamb, Cooper dynamic alone, much less a Schultz, much less 2 running backs you're throwing to, much less a 4th wide receiver, Cedric Wilson, who has 55 receptions or 55 targets in the year. Our targets are much more dispersed than other teams in general. We're the only team in the league with 3 receivers in the top 50 in targets. We're the only team. So when you're spreading the ball around, there's no way that you're going to have a receiver get 160 targets just in this offense. You can make the argument from there, though, that maybe Dak's spreading the ball too much, or maybe we have too many design plays that are intentionally taking targets away, which is probably a good point to your to what you're saying, Mary, because we do a lot of screens, we do a lot of design passing concepts where there's nothing else you're going to do. Like a lot of the play action looks where we're rolling out, like it's clearly designed to be a check down to Schultz. Like there's quite a few plays like that. So I definitely agree. Cooper should get the ball more. He's dynamic when he gets the ball. He has 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions when he's targeted. He has 118 quarterback rating when targeted. So like the good stuff is there, but it's a lot of things. Like our quarterbacks rushing through reads, our offensive line's not been stable. We're getting penalties. So even when we are completing it, they're coming off the board. Yeah. Like we're having route concept issues. Like it's a lot of different things that go into that.
And somehow we're still the number 1 scoring in yardage offense, which is wildly amazing. Yeah. And for sure, we're going to get Jeff C over here just so we can have that debate between Matt Owen and Jeff C. We're going to make that happen about who is the better wide receiver. That should be a fun time.
We've talked about that, by the way, just so you guys know, because there's a lot of Cowboys content creators that I love that I'm fans of that were defensive backs. I'm like, we should have a content creator pickup game. In Dallas before
a
game.
Knees blown out, guys. Calm down.
Hey, I'm telling y'all right now. DJ, I'm too old for that shit. I'm just telling y'all right now. I'm too old for it.
Quarterback.
Can I be a coach?
Yes.
I mean, maybe I'll snap the ball and we're playing 2-hand touch, so I ain't gotta block nobody.
If you're the quarterback behind me and BJ, you won't be touched.
There you go. Yeah, we guarantee you.
No, I don't want to be the quarterback. I want to get people 1-on-one.
I mean, he's ready to go out here and get his double move on. You already know that's his
go-to. You will not be touched.
Yeah. Right. You know, and I'm pointing here, and he wants to talk about
another thing.
I mean, another one. I mean, look, I don't want to stand all night talking about this Cardinals game in Harvest, but I could be like DJ Khaled. Another one. Yeah. Another one.
It was back to moving slow again, and they're just like,
I'm telling
Chris Jones, come get us.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. like Killer Moore rolled out the shut up game plan against Washington. Said, all right, I called runs to the outside, a bunch formation like Matt Owen's been talked about. Okay, shut up, and let me go back and do what I do. And we're like, what the, huh? Yeah, man. So I mean, yeah, there's I mean, there's a whole lot there
A
that
thought
we have
on
to
a
look
thought
at.
on the pre-snap motion too. I feel like Kellen's idea of pre-snap motion and ours are completely different because
Yes.
Kellen will have Zeke in the backfield, motion him out, and motion him right back just to see if they're man or zone. And he's like, it was
He
pre-snap
does.
motion. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
we want like
He does do
intentional
that.
pre-snap motion, like
Right.
where it's designed where you're going to get a mismatch, or we want Dak to audible or call somebody over and say like, adjust your route, I need you to slide in or whatever. We don't see that. Like it's
No.
not intentional. It's literally just
Right.
go
Oh.
out there. Oh, okay, cool. It's a main. Come right back. Like that's not what we're
Oh
talking.
no. Or they'll come out. They'll come back in the
Yeah.
empty set, and they just motion. I got to the backfield. Oh, great.
Right.
I was like, no. Let me get CeeDee Lamb coming across motion, running full speed, and snap the
Yes.
ball, so he's got the advantage.
Yes,
It's
yes.
those kinds of things that we're looking for.
And
You
it
know,
works. It
No,
works.
Mary, from your lips to God's ears,
Like
and
it
it
works.
works.
You know,
No,
I
it
think
does.
the receivers are looking around the league and they're like, just look at the Bengals, look at the Rams. We are in an elite group just like them, and there's no issues over there. And I think with Amari Cooper, who's one of the highest paid. What he said that I can lead in any category. Listen, it's normal for a player to look around and compare what he can do to what somebody else is doing. And when you start pointing out the flaws, what's going on this team right here, it's going to get to them at a certain point. It just sad right now as we get closer to the playoffs in 2 weeks is that we're going through this now. Listen, CeeDee Lamb, we know he's the future. I believe Amari Cooper is still going to be here next year. We saw how Mike McCarthy spoke about Amari Cooper, how he said that he loves it when the crowd goes cool, when he gets that ball. Listen, we got to make this happen. And listen, Mike McCarthy is going to be the one to really have to save this team. Really have to save this team big time.
Well, let me bring this up to you guys. So we have Mike McCarthy, former offensive coordinator, head coach, called plays a long time. We have Joe Philbin, former offensive coordinator, head coach, been in the NFL a long time. We have Ben McAdoo, former quarterback coach for Aaron Rodgers, offensive coordinator, head coach. We have Kellen Moore. We have 4 guys on our staff right now who are NFL offensive coordinators.
And Ben
How can this
McAdoo.
offense
Ben
possibly?
McAdoo.
Yeah, I mentioned McAdoo.
Oh,
How
sorry,
can we
my bad.
possibly have a bland offense right now? Like, I don't understand that. Not to mention, we have 2 guys on the defensive staff, Dan Quinn and George Edwards, who were defensive coordinators in the league. Like, why would we not say, hey, all the teams we're doing are adjusting to this. They're changing things from what the pre-snap look is. How would you guys scheme for us so we have the cheat sheet so we can take advantage of that? Like, how is that not happening? And if it is, why are we not able to execute knowing what's coming?
I think, probably the most frustrating thing to me is at times it's almost like this this game plan is trying to be chess when it don't have to be. I think you have to play chess when you lack weapons. When you have weapons,
Yeah.
it's checkers, right? And different things that we talked about, right? The motioning to get open and all that. You go let your dogs be dogs, if you will, and you target your people. Like the wildest thing to me, and I was kind of thinking about how to paraphrase this or give a nice soliloquy or analogy or whatever here about not force feeding, because I mean Kellen Moore came out, right, and it was like, well, we don't want to dictate, right, and all that good stuff. This one person, we got to get everybody involved. However he paraphrased it, but however he said it, it's like, well, okay, well, if you're a basketball team and you're like, let's just not get LeBron James any touches because we're going to use him as a decoy over here. We're going to let everybody else see it, or Michael Jordan or Kobe. I mean, paraphrase, I'm not saying that Cooper's on those levels. I'm just saying, who are the best players on your team? Well, hey, we need you to go set this pick and set up and let Johnny F Stick as was he F face, whatever he said. However, Mike McCarthy called him this present and around anymore to shoot this jumper from the corner. So I can understand why Cooper's getting frustrated, right? So yeah, it's just one of those conundrums, and this is kind of the scheme and something that we thought, let's go prior to before Mike McCarthy was here, and we were like, yes, we got Linehan out, we got fresh blood here, who's going to call these plays and all these different things that we heard, and then we got the glimpse right out the gate, right, those first 3 games. And then we went to, this is talking about, going back to Kellen's first year. And then we go down to the Saints, and it was completely different. And we're like, Jason Garrett put his foot on him, put his, and he's like, he stopped him. And we kind of thought that. But I think, at times you get perspective over the years of things have happened. And it's kind of realistically like this is who Kellen is. He's, remember, he was in Detroit with Scott Linehan before Linehan got here to Dallas. And then he was around Jason Garrett. And a lot of the problems is maybe you can be okay with his passing scheme. I'm not personally, but I think there are things there. Again, we're absolutely pounding the table about a team that's still number one in those categories that we're talking about.
Well,
But he can't run his running scheme is terrible. And I
very
know
much.
that the offensive line isn't what it once was, but we've seen whenever he's willing to pull guards and tackles and get some motion in the run game, that it works. And for whatever reason, he just decides not to do it. Because no matter what we think about the Cardinals game, no matter what we think about it, here's what I know. That running attack that we walked out there ain't going to cut it. I mean, it's just not at all. I mean, Dak led you with 5 attempts and 20 yards. That's just not going to do it. Go ahead there, Mary.
I mean, yeah, no, it's just very puzzling. I've been thinking about this like all day. It was distracting me from work. That's why I had to work late. But it's very puzzling how you can be a certain way the first 7 weeks of the season. And you can be moving, because like I said, I don't expect to score that much, over 40 against every team. Like, even though I know they're capable of doing it a lot, I know, not every team.
Mary, he's sandbagging. He's holding all these magical plays for the playoffs.
And see, it doesn't even, it's just crazy. I mean, if that was true, that's absolutely crazy. But it just doesn't make sense that you can do that for the first 7 weeks. And then after that, you're like, do. And then like, oh, here we go again. Oh, do. Like, it's extremely puzzling why someone would, in their right mind, would do that. It just literally makes no sense.
BJ, you said earlier that this reminds you of Amari Cooper, Des Bryant, and Scott Linehan.
It gives me vibes. How they're starting to talk now. It gives me vibes.
I'm with you there. I'm going to go a little bit backwards.
Okay.
A little bit backwards. I'm going to 2008 when Wade Phillips got fired. I'm going that way, where the offense was atrocious. The play calling was so bad. And then Wade got fired, and all of a sudden, Gary took over. And I say that is because through the beginning of the season, what we kept on hearing, Kellen Moore's the future. He's the next head coach for this Cowboys team. Signed for good money, 3-year deal, right? He's here for a long time. And
talked about that earlier, Tuck. I talked about that earlier. Go ahead.
So, that's what gets me. That's what really gets me, because right now we're seeing we do one thing, a couple of games we do great. The minute we hit the wall with Denver Broncos, all of a sudden we just lost out there. We just no comeback.
Well, let's circle that though, and let's circle that there, right? Because we all laughed, ha ha, and especially because the following week we went and played Atlanta and we blew them out, like ha ha, what blueprint? And we talked about this on the space, right? Who's the defensive coordinator for the Cardinals? The ex-head coach from John Vance, John Vance. You think he didn't call up people? You think he didn't do certain things to figure those things out? I mean, there is something to be had, and it's not. And I think at times we took it as, or I did. I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for nobody else. But they talked about the blueprint. In my head, I'm like, now you can have a blueprint, but we got these elite players. You can have a blueprint. That's fine. And I dismissed the fact that the blueprint was on Kellen's scheme, and we would see things from Kellen schematically that were detrimental to said players that can go out here and do certain things. I mean, it's something we talked about before, and I do need to be clear, like, and some of the reasons why we talked about the targets earlier about Lamb and Cooper. Lamb can go up and get the ball more than Cooper can. Okay. Right. Although they're not great 50-50 ball guys per se, if you will. They're not in the Dez mode. We'll use that to keep it in Dallas, right? So they're not that. So you have to do things. Man, I keep talking about this damn West Coast offense and what it could be with these guys, but neither here nor there. But they figured out the scheme, and then when you can't run the ball properly, and there's a few things that comes with that. It's Dak got hurt. It's we played with the offensive line continuity. Left tackle's been out for a while. So right tackle had to miss 5 games. Even on the 5 games, things were cooking because the offense was fine. So, I mean, there's a myriad of things that kind of happen within that. But the problem is the scheme just seems to just go into a shell and not trust the players. And there, to me, seems to be a problem. That's why I kind of think that that Sid Wilson coming back may be a good thing for this team because, in my estimation, what I believe is CeeDee Lamb is better on the outside than he is in the slot. That's how I feel about him.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen, and that's going to help this team unlock some things, I'm hoping, with Wilson coming back and getting him out there. And obviously, Dak seems to trust Cedric Wilson in the slot a lot as well, too, so it's not a big drop-off. Yeah, you miss some toe drag swag and the big 50-50 ball guy. But, man, this offensive scheme and things that they're doing, man, it makes you just want to pound your head against the table.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say too, when you're talking from like a wide receiver perspective on why CeeDee Lamb seems to be more dynamic and more effective on the outside, it's a lot easier to double team, and not even necessarily double team, but to just get more bodies around a slot wide receiver than it is somebody on the outside, because you naturally have defensive ends not too far from the alignment. You have linebackers there, you have safeties, you have a corner on the outside. It's just much easier to contain a slot guy if you have somebody that is worth putting attention to, compared to when he's on the outside. It's much harder to get a second person there, because if you get that safety that far over to double cover the wide receiver, now suddenly the middle of the field is susceptible. And that's usually the one area teams don't want to be attacked, because you have a sideline that you can use towards your advantage from a defensive perspective. So it's a lot easier to double team an inside receiver than it is an outside receiver, because you expose the defense so much if you put extra attention on the outside. But the reason teams like to do it from the slot is because you have more open field to work with. So it kind of is like a yin and yang thing that teams try to play with. But I agree. I like CeeDee Lamb more on the outside, and I like Amari Cooper more on the inside. I kind of wish they would just reverse them, but that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, and in defense of the other point I had is like, because I look at whether it's Jamar Chase or different guys, Adams you brought up earlier and stuff. I mean, teams know what's going on here, but when you have that guy that can just beat you no matter the scheme, you have to trust that. And why we don't really do that as much here, I don't know. But with that being said, still the number. And talking about, it doesn't feel like the number one offense. We don't feel. I don't think to borrow from a Baker Mayfield. I don't feel dangerous. I don't feel very dangerous. But everything's in front of them, and that's the thing about it. Everything's in front of them, and they kind of move along and go from there. So, with that being said, then we'll see how it plays out.
Number one or not, they ain't winning nothing playing like they did on Sunday.
I'll tell you, man. Tell them again, man, for the people in the back.
And also, one more thing.
Get in there. Go ahead, man.
I'm going to finish I'm halfway through my review. Okay. The Greg thing, the Greg Zuerlein thing. Okay, first off, that kick pissed me off. We're in a dome, bro. No wind. It's temperature controlled. It was closed.
No wind. Do it again. No wind.
It's like this. And it's covered.
Yeah, it's covered.
Like no wind. So how do you miss that? But on top of that, outside of that, I don't like when any team relies on their kicker. And it works if you got Justin Tucker, but even he misses sometimes. I think he missed on Sunday. Even he misses sometimes. We're relying on a guy that we know hasn't been consistent this year to be the difference maker. No, you're almost cussed. Woo! Almost got it.
Let it go, Mary. Let it go.
Let it happen. You said you're halfway through a margarita anyway.
All these guys that are supposed to be top of their position, you rely on them to get down the damn field, period. And not have to rely on 3 points. It was completely inconsistent. It was a little bit more acceptable, I would say. There's no moral victories or whatever, but it was a little more acceptable when we played Tampa Bay, because even though we lost, they moved the ball well, and we saw a lot of good things from the way they were moving the ball. They haven't done that in the rest of these losses, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and maybe it would, right? So it's like we lost by a combined 9 points or whatever the case was, and Greg's missed 14 and all that good stuff they talk about. But the thing, as you were talking about that's maybe even more of a conundrum, right? Is why has the defense been so successful this year? They built the scheme around their players, and it seems offensively we don't do the same thing, right? And it's like, what are we doing? And that's when we get back to boy, this feels very Jason Garrett-ish or Scott Linehan and those different things. And that PT, that post-traumatic Garrett syndrome kicks in high gear. And I think a lot of it too, and while there's a lot of different things and feelings at this point, is coming off of such a big game from the Washington game. And like, okay, boom, it's back. We're finally all the way healthy. Here we go. And then you line up against the Cardinals, and as Troy even told us 50-11 times, they were depleted 50-11 times. He couldn't stop. He couldn't choose a different word. I think he started the show with depleted. I think his last word was depleted. He said depleted 1,000,000 times.
Yeah, when we played the Chiefs, it took him all the way until like the final 3 minutes of the game to be like, oh, by the way, the Cowboys have 9 starters out. Like,
yeah,
at the very end, he mentioned that.
Yeah, at the very end.
He let us know from like kickoff.
Yeah, Cardinals depleted, brother. Depleted. So, with that being said, you expected, and back to Spoonie's point earlier, right? Statement game. They kept talking about that at the start. Statement game, right? And when you get into that, and then you play that kind of game, I mean, it's frustrating. And here's what I do like. There was a lot of talk about the refs early on after the game, and I've seen it disappear. Good job, Cowboys Nation. That's a good job. I'm going to tell you why. Because they didn't cost us the game. At the tail end of it all, they didn't cost us the game. We did. 2, what you should be mad about is it wasn't called the right way on both sides. Just consistency.
100%.
We need the consistency.
Yeah.
But, with that being said, everything's still in front of them. Y'all know my motto. We want the smoke. I'm not running from that because I know what this team is capable of doing. I know they can get hot. Look, they'll get hot for 4 games, guys. And there they are.
I already said I'm not really afraid of any team except the Cowboys themselves, and then I'm afraid of COVID, and some of them can't seem to find a way to stay home. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Like we say, it only ends one way now. No time to be scared. With that being said, on to the Philadelphia Eagles. We're watching that out. We're good. We talked about it. We're good. If y'all got some questions, y'all can throw them in here too as well, guys. The Philadelphia Eagles, who are, I don't know, they got like 20. They're depleted. Apparently, they got like 20-11 people on COVID. Obviously, some of that's going on with us, right? Michael Parsons, little COVID action. We have, Jaron Kerson's got a hammy. Didn't practice today. I think they're going to be pretty cautious with them. Okay, guys. We got a 3% chance for the number 2 seed. We got a 14% chance for the number 3 seed and an 83% chance for the 4 seed. So are you team play or are you team sit?
I'm team play.
Okay.
But I think, they'll go out there, they'll try it out there, but they're just going to give us a half-ass performance and see if it sticks and see if it's enough to beat the Eagles. And they're not really going to care. And it's really not going to be a good watch. That's what I think.
Spoonie, are you team play or are you team sit?
I'm team play, depending on the flow of the game. Okay. If it's a blowout, you got to stop pulling guys. That'll be the smart thing to do. If it's back and forth, see what happens, what's going on during the fourth quarter. Just play is smart. At the end of the day, we need momentum to get inside the playoff is way more important. The way the media is coming down with the stories between Amari Cooper, Kellen Moore on this offense, you need a win here. A win would definitely get ready for the playoffs. A win would definitely have a better meeting. Okay, this is what we got to do. If you lose this game, all it's going to be is just more issues, more distractions, and I don't like that. Again, more than likely, we're playing the same guy who called us ass, and they won on Sunday. More than likely, we're playing them again. So,
he said we was ass, and we went out there and proved it. So
exactly.
Well, I mean, the young Ant-Man kid is 9-0 all time at AT&T Stadium for what it's worth. Professor O, are you team start him? Are you team sit him?
I'm team start him, team play him, and team beat them. I want to beat them heading into the season or heading into the postseason. I want to get some momentum. The main reason I'm team play them is because our offensive line, our starting 5, we've only had together one game this entire season, and it didn't look good. I want these guys to get some continuity, get Tyron's his sea legs underneath him, and I understand the concern. What if Tyron goes down? He's went down several times. That's what happens, and it may happen again. We don't know. Yeah. So I need him to be at his best, and if it means playing him again to get him at his best for the postseason, it's worth the risk for me. I need our offense to get some momentum heading into especially against a team that's depleted. We should, in theory, go out against them and destroy them and get some momentum. So if Kellen wants to experiment a little bit and force feed the ball to Cooper early just to see what happens, do it. Like, this is a perfect time for that to happen. And at the same time, the last reason I'm team play and team try to win is, even if it's tiny, even if your chances are minute to get the 2 or 3 seed, it's worth the risk, because getting the 2 or 3 seed means you get to play a team like the Saints or a team like the Eagles instead of a team like the Cardinals. I think we can beat the Cardinals in a rematch anyways, but anything that helps your odds to get to the Super Bowl is worth the risk at this point in the season. It's just my 2 cents.
Well, y'all know me. For 3 weeks now, I've been running this campaign. We want the smoke. I'm not about to put that smoke down now. Get your ass out there and go play. You know what? You look, you're mad, you're pissed off, or whatever it is. Hey, Philly's right there. Then go punch them in the mouth. Go 6-0 in the NFC East. Go beat them. It's only 5 games left in the season anyways if you win out. Go win 5 straight. Go out there and do what you got to do. Feel better about yourself. Dude, everybody watched the movie Players Club? Everybody watched the movie called Players Club?
Yeah, of course.
Sure,
all right. Everybody watch Players Club in the chat, right? Remember my guy in the back seat said, do something to make me feel better. Remember that? Do something to make me feel better.
Yes, I need a lot
And
of
you know what?
Mhm.
Somebody's got to be RIP to Avery Johnson. RIP. Somebody got to go grab Jalen Hurts' ass and put him into the window and burn something on his nose. I'm sorry. Hey, yeah, I want to go up there and walk in there with a big stick.
Put his head in the window.
Yeah, put his head in the window, drive him
lot.
around and everything, and let him know it is what it is.
The Knicks wants to finish what the Washington Stadium started last week.
Yeah, exactly. Man, we want the smoke. I ain't getting off that campaign. I could be mad about what's going on. Okay? I could be upset about what's happening. But when it's an ugly baby, but it's still my baby, I'm still campaigning. And we want the smoke, and we're going to go in there, and I'm team play them, and I'm team go in there and handle business efficiently. I want another 50 burger. I don't care if they're depleted, Troy Aikman. I don't care.
Eagle champ won. Did you get that beat Cowboys or beat Dallas shirt or whatever from early in the season? Have you not learned? Like, every time somebody in the division comes with that, trash talk, we put 40+ points on them. So I don't know why you're in here doing that, but whatever. Respect to you. Appreciate you.
I'm out here collecting hella bets from Eagles Raiders right now.
It's
so
your
it's
easy.
There got to be some horse shit in the corner somewhere. There got to be some horse shit in the corner on the floor somewhere.
The team that needed a prayer to get in the playoffs is in our chat talking trash. You needed a prayer.
Well, here's the thing.
0-7 against teams with winning records. Is that right? 0-7.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Right. Here's the thing, and we get this on the Twitter Spaces sometimes. It's always Eagles fans, by the way. It's never Washington. It's never New York. And I find it funny. And I'm like, I never actively go out and search for any other team's content creator or whatever's going on and jump in their chat. It's always Eagles. I don't know.
They love it.
It's funny. They're more worried about us than their own team at times. But with that being said, absolutely. Go play them. Go beat them. Do what you got to do. Do something.
The Cards are better than you, bro. What does that have to do with you?
Don't worry about that. Let them. Look, we appreciate the view. Hope you hit that sub button, that notification bell. By all means, my guy, do what you got to do. So we'll pivot away. Yeah, you're welcome anytime. And after we win, he won't show back up. I look, and to be honest with you, I like that 09. Remember that 09 when we beat them back to back last week? Man, how great would that be, Matt Owen, if we beat them again? And then it just falls our way. We get to play first in the playoffs.
Yes.
It's no better than that.
I don't know which player, but I need Dak or Zeke or somebody to do the air guitar in the end zone after we score when we beat them. Yeah, the Donovan McNabb. Bring it back.
That would be awesome.
Matter of fact, Andy Reid said McNabb is not going anywhere. And on Easter Sunday at a family barbecue, he finds out by his agent he's been traded to the Washington Redskins. Wow, what respect.
Yeah, that part. But we'll pivot away from that. I mean, look, always good to get. I mean, you're playing. Look, no matter what, you're playing the NFC East rival. Good to get the blood pumping on a rivalry game. I ain't mad at it. Like I said, Saturday night we'll see what's good, and you come on back in after y'all lose and see what you want to say then. We have. Wait, we don't know the schedule yet. I was about to bring up the playoff schedule. They haven't released that yet, have they?
No.
That's right. Not yet. We got to wait till these games get over.
Yeah.
But because I was going to say, at worst, though, if we're playing on a Saturday, right, it won't be a short because we're not playing on Sunday, Saturday. Okay. And if they play on Sunday, a little extra day for what it is. So we're kind of copacetic in that realm. Professor O, do you have anything about this Eagles game, even though with everybody off, or do you have anything in general that maybe the classroom needs to know about this year or anything for this evening?
I do. Actually, Mary kind of hinted at it earlier, and I appreciate you doing that, asking about Zeke's targets. So I want to talk about our targets and explosive pass rate. So explosive passes are anything that are 20-plus yards. Wait till you hear Zeke's numbers compared to the receivers and Zeke's target numbers and tell me if it makes any sense to continue to feed him the ball in the passing game. So CeeDee Lamb is number 14 in the NFL in explosive passes. 16% of his targets, not his receptions, 16% of his targets turned into an explosive play. He has 19 of those on the season, averaging 9.1 yards per catch. Cooper's second. He's number 32 in the league, 14% target or explosive passes, 13 total, 8.2. Pretty good. Michael Gallup's number 72, so it's a pretty big drop-off when you go from 1 and 2 to number 3 and 4. But Gallup's 72, 10% of his targets are explosive plays. He has a 7.3-yard average. Cedric Wilson's number 78, so just a little bit behind Gallup. 9% rate, 8.8 yards. Now you have Zeke, 160th in the league. 2% of his 62 targets, which is one total, turns into an explosive pass. 4.4-yard average. Like, he's so far behind the other guys, and he has 62 targets on the season. Stop throwing the football to Zeke. I don't care what he's in. Don't throw the football to him. If it's design play or check down, you're better off throwing to literally anybody else on the field. And it's not even an anti-Zeke thing, so just so you guys know, Dalvin Cook is 1 spot above Zeke. Saquon Barkley is 2 spots below Zeke. Running backs in general, there's a few running backs in the league, like a guy like Christian McCaffrey or somebody like that. Aside from that, or Austin Eckler, aside from that, it doesn't make sense at all to throw the ball to your running backs, especially on design plays, because it's just not an effective passing play compared to any other target you have on the field. Dalton Schultz is 8%, so he's still literally 4 times as likely to bust a big passing reception as Zeke. So I don't know why we continue to do it, and especially when you have 62 targets. Coop wants the ball. Lamb wants the ball. Gallup wants the ball. Literally spread that around, and your receivers are all in much better situations. So I don't know why we keep doing that. Just wanted to talk about that. I did want to talk about one other thing too. So for the season, the Cowboys have been in 11 personnel. That's 1 back, 1 tight end. So you have 3 wide receivers, 64% of our snaps. And we've been in 12 personnel, which is 1 back, 2 tight ends, 26% of the snaps. The last 5, the ratio is even getting worse. So the last 5 games, 11 personnel, 72% of the time, and 12 personnel, 20% of the time. That's a huge difference. The Eagles are literally doing the opposite. So the Eagles have a 58% rate in 11 personnel. The last 5, they're in 46% of the time. So they're dropping their 11 personnel and getting extra bodies, which probably makes sense why the run game is suddenly much better the last 8 weeks of the season. 12 personnel, they were in 29% before. The last 5 games, they're in at 39%. So again, you add those bigger bodies, it opens up things in the run game. Not really rocket science there, but the Eagles seem to have caught on to that. So props to them. Last thing is run pass ratio. The Eagles are 51% run, 49% pass. We're 60% pass, 40% run, which really isn't too bad. I know it sounds high, but the Super Bowl champ and the Super Bowl loser last year both were 63%.
Yeah.
So it's not really a big thing there. But I did want to talk about the rates. I did want to mention one other thing too. We talked about target rates. Coop's getting 6.86 targets per game, and Lamb's getting 7.8. What's happening with those targets is a big difference between the two, though.
Right.
So the completion percentage is 66% for Coop and 65% for Lamb. Not a huge difference there. But Coop has 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions when targeted, 118 quarterback rating. Lamb has 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and an 89.7% quarterback rating. So you're dropping literally 20 points in quarterback rating when you're targeting Lamb versus Coop. Not Lamb's fault, because some of those are bad passes. Some of them are tip passes, things like that. But it's interesting to see what the actual targets are turning into for both receivers. So,
yeah.
And again, I will say early in the year when Lamb was on the outside, it was the opposite. Lamb's quarterback rating was the one that was higher, but it's dropped significantly with him playing predominantly in the slot.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. And back to the fact that he has 47 targets, not catches, 47 more targets in his catches, which is almost right there on the heels of Cooper's catches. Insane stuff. But great point there, because
one more thing.
You confirm. Well, real quick, you confirmed what I was thinking, that Lamb was better on the outside. So by all means, go ahead,
Yeah.
Professor O.
Cedric Wilson, 40 receptions, 55 targets. It's a 73% completion rate. That's the highest of anybody except for Malik Turner. And obviously, Malik has a small sample size. 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 targeted, and 115.9 quarterback rating. So getting Cedric back on the field, as much as I love Gallup, might be a good thing for our offense.
Also, as I'm watching this here from a guy, Banks, Clement ran flats in Philly. I mean, shouldn't we be talking about it's the Clement revenge tour game against Philly? No? Yeah, maybe?
Yeah,
Joking.
let him
Yeah.
get some burn. Why not?
Yeah,
He looked
yeah,
good
no.
against Washington, to be fair, when we were giving him the
Yeah,
ball.
he
And he
did.
had some good runs.
He
So.
did.
Yeah.
And he blocked the punt, too.
And as we conclude Professor O's class this week, Doc Q one video says, and Kellen can't figure that out. Thanks, Matt. Brother.
Again, though, they have a whole team of people like me that
Yeah.
have more access to stuff than I have. Like, he knows this stuff. He's just not.
They aren't passing the test. They aren't passing the test like we are, man.
You know what I watched last night? All right. I watched Moneyball. Everybody watched Moneyball?
I did not.
Okay,
I did
fair
not want to waste my
Good
time.
movie.
No, it's a good movie. Mary,
Yeah.
you should watch Moneyball. You should watch Moneyball. And you know, they have these guys like in Cleveland, right? And he goes poaches the guy and does these things or whatever. And back to what you were saying, man, they literally have a whole progressive unit of people to do these things. And man, Kellen, man, I don't.
I'll put it this way, just so you guys understand. I had this in high school and in college, so I know that they have it in the NFL. They give you a sheet or packet, most likely, of the teams you're playing, telling you when they're in this personnel, they run this play this many percentage of the time. When this person comes on the field, this is what plays are run. Here's their tendencies. Here's what they've called the last 3 weeks. Like, you know everything. These players, when they tell you after the game and you hear, I knew what the offense was calling, I knew what they were doing. They do, literally. They don't even have to watch film. They do watch film to back it up, but they have a packet of data. If they just read it, it tells them when this team's in 11, they pass this many percentage. This is the yards they average. These are the receivers they hit. This is what they do in down and distance situations when it's third and short. This is what they do when it's third and long. Like, they know exactly what's coming. And then it's just a guessing game at that point who they're going to target. Like, the players have that. So the coaches clearly have it too. Kellen's just not utilizing it, and that's what's frustrating.
Right. And even on top of those packets, their meetings all week, the film study they're doing with the outline right there for them. And yeah, again, frustrating. And I mean, we kind of covered this other, Kenny. Mary, I think they're waiting for the playoffs. What'd you say it was?
Absolute bullshit.
Oh,
Ridiculous.
This
okay.
100%. I've had this argument so many times with people. They were like, just take what they're giving you. I'm like, no, you impose your will.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. I made this analogy before. It's Knicks, so I want to make sure I don't mess it up. But the 90s Bulls had Michael Jordan. When Kerr's wide open for a game-winning shot, it's totally fine to defer to him and let him hit it. However, the majority of the game, it's Jordan. You're setting picks, you're setting rolls, you're screening, you're doing plays to get Jordan the ball because he's your best player. That was my single biggest complaint with Garrett and the offensive coordinators is you have a Dez who's a freak. Not a great route runner. Okay, but there's things he does that are elite. Take advantage of it. You impose your will and target him and get him the ball, and he will make big explosive plays happen. We don't do that. We're like, well, the flat's open, so we'll check down for 2 yards, or we'll throw this for 3 yards, or that's there, so we'll take that. No, don't take it. Here's the offense is the only people on the field that know the snap count, and they know exactly what's coming. The defense is guessing. You're the only people that know that. No matter what they show pre-snap or post-snap, you know what you're doing. They don't know that. They're guessing. Even with the study and the film data and the analytics, it's still somewhat of a question of what you're going to do. You know it. You have the advantage, and all the rules are geared towards the offense. Throw downfield. Worst case scenario, unless you're going against a Trayvon Diggs, it's going to get knocked down or you're getting a pass interference. Like, we know that. They call it all the time. Defensive backs have very little leeway, and we don't take advantage of that. It's just super frustrating. Like, you go attack them and say, I don't care what you do. I'm going to attack this over and over because I know that linebacker can't cover, and I know that safety's weak, and I know that guy falls for double moves. Until you show me otherwise.
And other offenses constantly do that to our weak points.
Yeah, of course.
All the time.
You know, I'm debating if I want to open up these can of worms. I'm debating here because as Mary was talking about something and Matt, and you were making your point there. Mary has shows violence. Mary has shows
Before we even
violence.
started, she chose violence.
Yeah,
Before we even
and I'm gonna. Well, I don't know. I know this stove is hot before I touch it. I think I'm gonna touch it anyways. All right. There was a previous guy here. I'm talking around. I don't know. There's a previous guy here that kind of ignored some things from some guys and would throw it to a certain guy because he was mentioning Dez. Hey, I'm throwing it. You know what? I'm just throwing it, and be damned. And even like maybe the biggest catch, non-catch, people would say, well, there's another guy coming underneath and Cole Beasley who was open, but on fourth, he threw it to his guy. Maybe Dak just needs to throw it to his guy. Like, yeah. All this extra, whatever. I'm gonna throw it to my guy, and maybe we need a little bit more of that. Now back to the tape side of it and what we're talking about. And I know you didn't want to run with it in different things. I'm not putting no pressure, but I'll do it. I'll say it. The table Cooper's bad at times. It's very lackadaisical, jogging. And the funny thing about it was you actually saw it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I guess it is now, in the first Washington game. There were times it was there. It was just worse this week.
Yeah.
Not blocking, not running the route consistently, so on and so forth. So I don't know. And again, there's something aloof. Play calling be damned, whatever's happening.
Well, I think the problem is that his guy is a running back.
Yeah.
Named Ezekiel Elliott.
Okay. Say it again for the people in the back of the church, Mary. Say it one more time.
His guy isn't a wide receiver. It's a running back named Ezekiel Elliott.
We're not going to open that can. That's what we're not. Okay.
I won't touch that one. I'll just say this. Mary, you can tell when you watch film which routes Cooper thinks he's going to get the ball or may get the ball. You can tell. It's very, very clear because he's so crisp as a route runner. It's super obvious when he thinks he's going to get the ball compared to a normal play. I'll just put it that way. In the run blocking, there were 4 different times in the first half alone where the run was called to his side. 3 of the times we tried to go outside and Coop didn't touch his person. I don't need you to pancake them. I don't even need you to block them that long. I just need you to physically shield them slightly, get in the way. He's jogging. In one play, he actually walks. Doesn't even when they say fire off the line, he quite literally walks off the line. He had no intention of even making contact on the play, and his guy made the tackle 3 of the 4 times. The only time he didn't, his guy still was in there and redirected him into the defensive end who made the tackle. It's bad last week. The other weeks have not been quite as bad. I don't know if it's getting progressively worse, but Coop last week, if you watch him and just zero on him, it's super obvious when he's checked in and when he's checked out. It's a night and day difference.
Yeah. And David, we've talked about it tremendously. This offensive line and some of the things that have happened a little bit earlier tonight, but we have consistently over the timing. But to be clear, that wasn't the issue in the Arizona game. Sorry. There was plenty of time that Dak stepped back and had time. He wasn't under pressure consistently. That wasn't really the major issue. Now, in the run blocking, because we wasn't planning to do anything, but hell, they didn't get enough run plays to really see what was going on, right? Can we jump
on that real quick?
Go for it.
So I want us to run the ball
efficiently.
All of us want us to run the ball efficiently. The issue goes back again to Kellen when we talked about the first passing play of the game is a screen pass. When you spread out Sprinkle, McEwen, and McGovern, everybody knows it's a screen coming. When you only run successfully out of 12 personnel, or with McGovern in at fullback, as soon as he comes on the field, suddenly defense is like, pin my ears back. I don't have to worry about getting beat deep. Attack. I'm going to go. I know they're running the ball. We're very, very predictable on when we're running and when we're passing. If you look at the run-pass ratios in 11 versus 12 personnel or any other personnel group versus 11, it's significantly different. When anything but 11's on the field, we're run dominant. So when you do that, again, you're telling the defense, I don't have to respect the pass. And if I do, I have a deep safety. So everybody else, cornerbacks, linebackers, can play aggressively and stop the run. That's why, and again, the offensive line's not playing great. I'm not saying that they are. But suddenly you're seeing 6-7 men coming against 5 blockers. We're going to lose the battle. And even when it's 5-on-5, you're going to lose the battle. We can't double team in the run game to open up those holes because the defense knows runs coming because we're so predictable. Like, that's where we're at right now as of today. We weren't that way earlier in the year, but right now we are. So maybe getting Darwin back will change that. But
yeah, and Uba, and I'm be honest with you, wide receivers don't block right here in Dallas. And that's not a guess. That's not a judgment. The tape shows it. Our wide receivers do not block well. Our tight ends don't block well. And that kind of stuff attributes to an
I think our
offensive
tight
lineman
ends
back
at
to
least try. I think our tight ends try. They just aren't good.
But you know what? Right.
I'll be honest.
Hold on, wait.
I don't know that Schultz tries. I'll be honest. I don't.
But here's the thing. And look, if we all know that, and we've talked about this at different points in time during this year about these tight ends and their blocking. Why did Kellen Moore think it was a good idea on the very limited amount of runs that we had, ladies and gentlemen? 4 of them. His idea was to have Schultz block Chandler Jones one-on-one.
I was literally
and then wonder why the run game doesn't work. Why? So I wonder why you didn't run the ball anymore. Look, if I'm Dak Prescott and I've done this 4 times this game, and every time we're lining up and it's Schultz one-on-one with Chandler Jones and he's in the backfield as Susan, even when he was on the backside, bro, they could not. Dalton Schultz couldn't stop him on the backside from making a tackle for a loss or no gain.
You couldn't expect him to. I mean, you just shouldn't. He's
right.
Right.
So if look, here's the thing. Well, dadgummit, if I'm Dak Prescott, we're lining up and here they are. I see Schultz, I see Jones. It's a run play, bruh. I'm checking out of all of them too because it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time to call that play because you already got 4 plays of seeing what the hell is going on. So yeah, I mean, again.
Don't mind running the ball, but not like that.
Right. But running the ball is, and I think we get lost in this sauce. We think the running ball is running backs and offensive line. No, it's a team thing. It's your tight ends. It's your wide receivers. Everybody has to be involved. It's one of the things that a lot of people gave Terrence Williams a lot of flack at times for being a body catcher, me included. Bro, he blocked downfield.
He blocked. He did.
He blocked his ass off. Des Bryant blocked his ass off. When we
Hines
talk
Ward,
about this running
Hines
game,
Ward is, that's what people knew about Hines Ward and
right.
Bolden is they will light up your linebacker to get blocked.
So when we talk about this running game, running game falling off at times, it's not just the offensive lineman in the scheme at times. It's your perimeter players and tight ends do not block as well, and we refuse to use a fullback. So here we are. You know what I mean?
To that point, so shout out to our guy J Tuck. J Tuck and Nick's did a show. If you haven't watched it, run it back. It was really good.
Yeah, Monday. Mm-hmm.
The personnel package, we already know has changed from 11. Is 11 heavy now? 11 personnel is popular in the NFL, so that's normal. But the difference, the ratio from what we had in 11 and 12 early in the year versus now is hugely different. Earlier in the season, we saw, and granted, this is when Terrence Steele was starting at right tackle, but we saw those Hulk personnel packages or Hawk personnel packages, whatever it was. We saw these wishbone formations. We saw CeeDee Lamb in the backfield. Like, I don't know where Kellen, what he did with that play sheet, but it's gone. And we don't see that anymore. Yeah. So, like, we see things like you guys talked about, like the just shut up signings. We have the just shut up plays, the just shut up games, like you mentioned, where we see things where people are like, we can't run the ball. And then the next game we run the ball and they're like, see, we can. We told you we can. And then they go right back to the same old stuff. Like, I don't know where those plays went. I don't know if they are saving them for the playoffs. I highly doubt they are. But it just seems like we're like, well, now that Collins is back at right tackle, we can't do that personnel group anymore. Why not?
Right.
Why not? Yeah. Why can't you put CeeDee Lamb in the backfield? Because San Francisco does that with Debo all the time. Falcons do that with Cordero Patterson pretty much exclusively now. Like, why can't you show that look? Because when you do that, suddenly the defense is like, red flag, CeeDee Lamb's in the backfield. And then you can do play action and hit Cooper. Like, you're literally setting the defense up by doing that. You're showing them something intentionally.
You're dictating?
Setting it up. Yes.
Are you dictating over there, man? Are you dictating?
Yeah.
Interesting concept.
Why can't we do that?
And it's it is a thin line between dictating and telegraphing. It can be, but Kellen Moore chooses violence and always just wants to be that way. You know what I mean? So my guy Steve had a question here real quick.
Kim 265.
Let me jump back here. We'll get to that one next. Because I'm curious if any of you think the Cowboys can actually win the chip this season. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If not, with what we've seen from them half of the season on offense. No, I don't think so. But if we see what we've seen the other half of the season, then yes.
First half.
I think-
but we don't know what we're gonna see. We have no idea.
Right.
That's the problem.
I think if our offense is average, but our defense wins the takeaway battle, we can win. We can go all the way to the Super Bowl with that. But to win the Super Bowl, yes, the offense will have to show up.
Yeah, but I mean, it's there. I mean, that's the thing about it. Like, the ingredients are there. We're as healthy as we've been all season. So yeah, it's there. It's just can they put it together? And that's where it's at. There's no one that you look, especially on the NFC side, that you're like, oh no. I mean, there's nobody. Everyone's got a bad resume. They got, or not a bad loss on their resume, I should say, or they have a glaring weakness here or there. So yeah, and you played some of the elite teams that you would call quote unquote elite in this league on both sides of the conference, and you've played them well. So, and beaten some of them, and that's all next who they beat. Well, they beat New England. They had the number one seed not that long ago, the AFC. You went to Kansas City, 19-9. You played them pretty well. So I mean, you've done these things here. You know what I mean?
Won in LA, which is where the Super Bowl is going to be at. We beat the Chargers, who are a playoff team right now. I mean,
right.
It's just a matter of like what's going to show up, like you guys said. So
yeah, I mean,
got to see what's going to show up. That's it.
I will say one last note about the Cardinals game I should have mentioned earlier. This is the first time in my entire life that I was confident in our special teams that we were going to block that punt at that third quarter, fourth quarter when we were trying to get the ball back, especially when they had the false starts moving back even further. I'm like, we're going to block it. I just know it. I've never been that confident in my life. So shout out to both. I'm not a special teams guy. I hate special teams. I wish they weren't a part of the game because I want to score and stop them. I wish they didn't have to be there. But I'm thankful that we have Anger, who's been an elite punter, and I'm glad that Fossil has gotten to special teams where we didn't block the punt, but then CeeDee Lamb had a nice kick return, which led to a touchdown. So our punt return, sorry, that led to a nice led to a touchdown drive. So
Special K with a question, a little early. We got to, but I mean, scapegoat. It depends on how the game goes. I don't think you really just put it. You gotta let the game play.
The game plays plays blame before you even see what happens.
There you go, Mary. I like that. But again, man, like I said, I'm still on team. We want the smoke, man. We want the smoke. I got Armchair checking in. What's good, Armchair? Man, we want the smoke, man. And I get it, Kenny, the MJ13's out. But I mean, overall, offensively and defensively, we are the most healthy we've been.
I mean, our offense was rolling with MG13 now. It was rolling just fine.
Let's get back to that. And again, and a part of that, and that's the nugget for tonight. And a part of that, what we talked about is this kind of pushes Lamb to the outside. And with Lamb on the outside, the numbers kind of prove it. Matt Ogeman brought it up that he's been bet on the outside then in the slot, and said Wilson's very comfortable in the slot. And on top of that, Dak's pretty comfortable with Said in the slot. We've seen that. We saw it just last game even. And Donovan, you're not wrong. You're not wrong here, Norton.
Hey, we're gonna knock on wood. Okay.
Yeah. Knocking on all the wood.
Not speak that into the universe. Let's not do that.
Because I said this 6 weeks ago, or so. I was like, this guy's going to cost us a game in the playoffs, but I ain't going to speak on that no more. Yeah. It's 2022. Positive vibes is exactly where I'm at. I'm good there. I got Gaddison says, I like Said Wilson. How do you feel about him? Spoonie, you want to take that one?
No, I feel great about him. Everything that he did. Once Gallup went down during the bus game, after that, he came in here, stepped up. That was a concern from everybody. And listen, I feel great about him going forward into the playoff. Obviously, they both two different receivers, but I like what Seth brings to this offense with Dak Prescott. So I'm good with it.
Yeah, go ahead. Just jump in there, man.
So I love Seth. I'm a huge fan of him. For whatever reason, when Sed's in the slot and Lamb's outside, our offense is more explosive. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love Gallup. I absolutely think Gallup's the better receiver than Cedric is. However, for some reason, that's our best three. Talking about Lamb, Cooper, and Wilson. I don't know why it is, but for some reason, Kellen in the offense just seems to flow better when Sed is in slot. Maybe that's Lamb being outside. Maybe it's both. I don't know. Yeah. But it seems like the way that we target Gallup is so limited. We throw some deep routes to him. We throw some fades. We throw some sideline routes. We just don't really throw any slants or anything going across the middle or really anything. A route tree is pretty limited. And I don't think that's his fault. I think that's just the way we utilize him. So, yeah, I really enjoy the offense when Sed's out there. So maybe we'll see that next season. I don't know, but I'm a big Sed fan. Mm-hmm. I did have a question for Knicks, though.
Okay, shoot.
So Nix has brought this up several times on his Twitter space. If you haven't checked it out, every Friday night, what is it called? It's
Every Friday
Happy
at 5,
hour.
yeah, happy hour,
Happy
5
hour.
p.m. Central. We do the Cowboys happy hour on Twitter Space.
yeah. So if you haven't joined it, it's free. You just go in Twitter, click on the top of your screen. You'll see the face bubbles with it, and you can join the show. So if you want to join and hop in for 10 or 15 minutes and chat with us, ask us questions, tell us your opinion, vent, whatever, we recommend that. I do want to mention something Nick talks about a lot, though. So, Nick, you said the last few weeks, and we've seen it when our offense is rolling. Talk about the up-tempo offense a little bit. I have some data behind it, but I want to hear your opinion before I give you the data.
Yeah, I mean, and man, I pounded the table on Twitter about this a lot, and it jumpstarts this offense. It gets things moving. There's not a lot of stop and think, and even in the Washington game, we're like, whoo, guys, slow down. At times, like they've seen the how it works for them. And then we got to the Cardinals game. We did it like one, with like maybe the first possession, a smidge of the two, and then it disappeared. This is a big thing, especially during the time on the Twitter Spaces where the offense was struggling and how to get it back on par. And it was like tempo always. If you're sluggish and you're starting out slow, right, you have to pick up the pace. You got to go quicker. You got to get that tempo rolling, get the blood pumping, right? Sometimes you got to go for a jog in the morning instead of the evening. Get things rolling to attack the day the right way. And we've seen it work for this team, but, Professor O, walk through that door.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about it. So first, we're going to start with the fourth quarter. Obviously, teams are more prone to go no-huddle offense in the fourth quarter, especially if you're down. Makes sense. Obviously, you're going to speed the pace up. So just starting with that, because I want you to see what it actually looks like. When we're in a huddle, traditional huddle, our success rate, which is the percentage of you gaining the yards to go, so whether it's 1st and 10 or 3rd and 6, whatever, you're picking that up. Our success rate is 39% when we're in a huddle and 61% when we're in no huddle.
Oh, shocker.
Wow.
Who saw that coming?
So again, we'll take the caveat out that it's the fourth quarter. You're in hurry up there and prevent. So we'll just get rid of that. Second quarter. How about when we go no huddle in second quarter? 44% success rate when we're in huddle. 68% success rate when we go no huddle. Second quarter. So there's no possible way you can say that it's because of prevent defense or any other reason like that. First quarter. How about that? How about starting the game out on a good note? When we go in a traditional huddle, our success rate is 44%. When we go into no huddle, it's 63%. When we throw the ball out of a traditional huddle, it's a 7.2 yards per attempt. When we throw it out of no huddle, it's 9.6. You're talking almost 10 yards per attempt when you throw it out of no huddle. So again, you're not going to be the Philadelphia Eagles running the Chip Kelly offense where you do that exclusively. But the data is super apparent. We're actually above league average in every single quarter, in every situation, in no huddle versus traditional huddle. And we're below league average in 3 of the 4 quarters under a traditional huddle. So what it tells me is when you get good field position, when there's a short punt, when you get a takeaway, you should absolutely go no huddle and take advantage of that momentum because the data's there. It's super clear. Again, I have the data. I know for a fact they have it.
Right.
Speed the game up.
Speed it up.
Our offense, especially Dak in particular, is much more efficient when he goes fast. And to that point, Tony Romo, when he went no huddle, was much more efficient than he was under traditional huddle too, because the quarterbacks get a chance to call the plays. It's not coming from the sideline. Quarterbacks have more of leeway. There's more of a lead or leash, I should say. So yeah, we should speed the tempo up when it makes sense. But basically from the data, it always makes sense with the Cowboys offense. So
we've literally been talking about this all season.
Yeah, you brought the point up and I had the data finally.
Right,
so I'm like, let me just circle that back.
Say it again, Mary.
Like literally, how many times am I like, is it just me or do they need to move this faster? And y'all are like,
Yeah, keep going.
Are we going? Do we have time for a contest?
Do we have time
for a contest?
Do we have time for a contest? I got the number ready.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
You got the contest?
So real quick, just so you guys know, we'll do it now. We'll start it out.
We'll do it now. Let's do a contest, ladies and gentlemen.
Real quick. My mom got me this for Christmas, so shout out to Mom. You got to know Dallas sports trivia game. The cards, just so you know, are unopened. Literally, they're still in the pack. So I'm going to open this. I don't know if you can see it or not. You can't see it. Yeah, there you go. So they're still wrapped. I haven't even opened them. We're going to pick 3 people. The first 3 to answer the questions. We're going to ask Cowboys-oriented questions.
I got to call in line.
We're going to do call in line? Perfect.
I got to call in line.
Here's the extra layer I'm going to give you on this call in line. If you don't know the answer, You can pick one of the other three. Obviously, not me since I have the card. You can phone a friend with Nix, Mariella, or Spoonie to help you win the contest. If you get the question right, you only get one chance. But if you get it right, I will buy you a shirt from Fanatics.com.
We will.
Okay. A shirt from CFO, supporting our guy J-Tuck, or a shirt from NFL.com. You pick the Cowboys shirt. I don't care what it is. I'll buy it for you if you win the contest.
But you have to be subscribed.
Yeah, you have to be subscribed.
That's the ticket. So the number's right there, 903-475-6815. First person that calls in that I answer the phone for.
And gets it right and it's subscribed.
We'll get the first question. So there's a number. Dial it up and we'll try to give you little swag going into the playoffs, a new shirt, if you will. A little new shirt action. And of course, it ain't old school like back in the day. You gotta have nights and weekends and stuff like that, or you can't call long distance. You're good in these days.
Right. So Fanatics has a really nice Cowboys NFC East Championship shirt that says "We Run the East." There's also another one that says "Lights, Camera, Play Action," Lights, Camera, Playoffs. And our guy J-Tuck has a fire Micah Parsons shirt. So if you want to support,
the Micah Parsons shirt's right. Yeah. You got a cool ass Dak shirt too. You got a swaggy Dak shirt as well too. Big facts. But don't be scared. You got to call in, though. You got to call in. And while that's going in, Spoonie, this tempo, we'll keep that going as we wait for the call for the first question here, and we'll get through it. We're going to do 3 tonight before we get up out of here. This tempo, though. Yeah, I see you, Pete. Pete down there with the Buffalo Bills, the OK gun, Jim Kelly.
It's Spoonie? Bad. It's bad. So, and they... just the number EO just came and said, it's like, how do we get away from all that? And this is why we're looking so sluggish. And with Kellen Moore, are you really looking at this team, or are you just going with what it feels good for you just for that moment? Are you doing what's best for this team week after week? Are you studying? Are you looking at the film? Somebody said earlier, I forgot who it was last week, is Kellen Moore becoming like Jason Garrett, where he was so I forgot just the word for it, like it's like when you don't care.
It's coming up, Steve. Don't worry, it's coming up as soon as the contest is over.
That's the way I feel about Kellen Moore right now. Everything we've been saying today, we're watching as viewers. I'm pretty sure they're watching and they're experts in what they do. What's the issue? It shouldn't be that a player has to come out and speak about it to the media, and then we're going to do it the following week. This should be clockwork.
Right.
It should be every game without even thinking. And listen, it's astounding how PO come out with those numbers. Meanwhile, they're the experts out there, and they're watching film all the time. We shouldn't be having a conversation about this.
Agree.
I think they're getting in there on the head. What I think's happening is they're calling a play, and then what they're thinking is, if we call this play, they're going to do that. So if they do that, we're going to do this, instead of just sticking with the original play call. That's what I think they're doing.
I think people are scared to call in. Maybe they're scared of the trivia question.
Really, nobody? I'm trying to buy you guys a shirt.
Well, I think they're waiting for you to ask. I think they're waiting to hear.
No, you got to call. Now you got to call in first and then get the question.
Or how about if they text it in?
I gave you a phone a friend too. Like I gave you.
You got a phone a friend.
One of the
whole
three experts
nine
on here. They haven't seen them either. I just opened this.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, there we go. State your name. Where you from?
Hey, it's Robert Roberts.
All right, we got Robert Roberts on the line. Where you calling in from?
Washington State.
Washington State's in the building. All right.
Nice.
You ready for your question?
Yeah.
All right, Matt, what is the question?
So again, one more time, the rules. I will ask you the question first. If you want to answer it, obviously go ahead. If you don't know, pick one of the three, whichever one you want. You can't pick all three. You got to pick one. And if you get it right, afterwards, send me a message on Twitter with what you want, and I'll order it for you. So,
how many seconds does he get to answer?
We're doing it in run time, but let's get to the question.
Okay.
All right. So we want to win a Super Bowl, right? Mary has the hashtag, let's get 6. So it'll be a Super Bowl-oriented question. How many of his 3 Super Bowl rings was Troy Aikman named the game's MVP? So how many MVPs did Troy have how many times was Troy the Super Bowl MVP? You don't even have to tell me which one it was or which ones it was. Just tell me what his total was.
How many?
Robert, the question, did you hear it or I need to tell you?
Yeah, I heard it.
How many Super Bowl MVPs does Troy Aikman have?
Nice.
1, 2, or 3?
Don't Google.
Or you can phone him, or you can ask me, Mary, or Spoonie if you want. If you don't want to
I'm not
answer,
sure.
Oh man,
I'm not
I was
sure.
young at that time. I'm gonna take a guess, and I'm gonna say 2.
It was 1.
That's
it
what I
was
thought. It was one.
It was
That's what I thought.
Ah, it was
Sorry.
1.
We'll do it again
I
next
thought I'd
week.
give it a shot anyways.
We'll do it
Nah.
next week. Appreciate you joining.
I
Thanks for
appreciate you
calling.
Said it was
joining in.
one. Yeah.
All right, bye.
All right. Okay. Well,
0 for 1. Somebody, we need
0 for
somebody to call in
1.
and redeem
All right.
it.
We need
Adam
another
Hill,
call. We need
Ryan,
another
Pete,
call.
Somebody.
One more call, and we'll run one more, and then we'll do. We got to get a winner, guys. We'll do
Yeah, we
one
gotta get a
more, and
winner.
then we'll get Spoonie Sermon, and we'll get up out of here. We need one more caller to come on through, and we'll try to get there. Should have phoned us. Should have phoned me. Should have phoned me.
Should have phoned a friend. Yep.
Yeah, Larry Brown won the other one.
And Emmett.
Mhm.
And don't forget about Emmett.
I
Emmett
know.
won
It
one.
First one, yeah, the first one.
Yeah, yeah.
First one.
Yeah, that's right. I got
Good job,
break
Robert.
the ice.
Somebody
He
else.
did break the ice.
Can you
Come
put the
next.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we
There
go.
you go. What's going on? What's your name and where you from? Hello? Oh, hold on. Did I hit I gotta hit that button. There we go. I'm sorry. What's your name and where you from? My bad. I had you on mute.
Oh, Mo Gaston from
Hey,
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
PA in the house, my boy Gadsden.
Hey.
What's going on, brother? How you living tonight?
Man, I'm doing great. How you guys doing and gals doing?
We're doing fantastic. Professor O is now getting out another question. Remember the rules. You can answer it. If you want to leave it up to fate of one of us three, Mary, Ella, Spoonie, or me, you can do that as well.
I'm ready.
All right.
All right, let's go. So from 1976 through 1983, quarterback Danny White created an extra roster spot on the Cowboys by doubling at what position? So what other position did Danny White play for the Cowboys from 1976 through 1983?
I'm ready.
All right.
Ooh.
All right. Did you hear the question, or do I need to tell you?
I didn't hear the question.
Okay. The question is: Danny White
That's a
from
hard one.
1976 to 1983 freed up an extra roster spot by doubling at the second position. What was the second position that he played to free up a roster spot? Now,
Oh,
now listen. Let me tell you something. Whenever I was like 4
That's
or
a
5 years
hard one.
old, just give you a little history about your guy Nix. I wouldn't come eat dinner at the table till my mom called me Danny White. So if you don't know, I'm not telling you shouldn't ask Mary or Spoonie, but I'm just giving you some inside information. But go ahead.
I think I know what it is.
Okay, you're gonna answer it. Go for it.
I think it was
Oh, I know what it is.
punter.
Punter.
Hey,
I said punter. Yeah, let's
yes.
go. Let's go. Gad.
Good
Gad
job.
with the win.
Good job.
Yes, sir. Good job, sir.
Mm.
Go ahead at me at Matt Owen. Your information, and we'll go ahead and get you. Are you on Twitter?
Or you can just message on.
No, you. I
message
tell you what.
on-
You just say, "Hey, I'll tell you what." Just
Message
text,
on Facebook or
you just text me. Hey, just text this number right here, and we'll get you something, man. Okay?
All right, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All
All right,
right.
we're 1 for 1. We need somebody to be the tiebreaker. And
Oh,
then
you
we'll move on
want to
the
go
Twins.
one more? Are you want
Yeah,
you
let's go
one more? You want to give away one more?
One more.
Okay.
One more.
Okay,
One
one
more.
more opportunity. All right, one more chance. Hey, Chad, when we got the call on the line, don't cheat though.
Yeah,
Don't cheat. Don't tell them. Don't let them look down and see. Don't cheat. Let's see what happens. We got one more time. We're gonna break the tiebreaker. I mean, I think we got Newark, New Jersey, dirty jerseys in the house. State your name. State your name, man. Oh, I gotta hit the button. There you go. State your name, man.
Samuel from Jersey. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Sam from
Yeah,
Dirty
what's up?
Jersey. What's good, Sam? All right. Once
Nothing
again, you'll get the question. You can phone one of us, or you can answer it yourself. Matt
All
Owen,
right.
what is the question?
All right. What founding father, in quotations, founding father of the early Cowboys was born and raised 100 miles away in Mount Vernon?
Did you hear the question, or I need to tell you?
You got to talk. I can't hear him.
I got you. Say it again for me, Matt.
What founding father,
What founding
the-
father
early Cowboys,
of the early Cowboys
was born and raised 100 miles away in Mount Vernon?
was born 100 miles away in Mount Vernon?
What founding father of the Cowboys is born in Mount Vernon?
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
That's
100 miles from Dallas, Texas.
100 miles from Dallas, Texas. 100
Tom
miles
Landry?
from Dallas, Texas. What's your answer?
Tom Landry?
Tom Landry?
Nope.
No. How
It
about
was
Tex
Don
Schramm?
Meredith. It
Oh,
was
it's Tom Meredith. Hey, I would have
See,
got
I
that
wouldn't
one
have
wrong
guessed
too,
that.
my
Oh
guy.
yeah, I wouldn't have got that one.
That was a
I
hard
would have
one.
got that one wrong too
That's a
because I
hard
thought it
one.
was somebody else. Fair enough, brother.
All right,
man,
so we went
appreciate
1
you.
for 3. 1 for 3. Not bad for the first time. We'll do it again next week and all the way through the Cowboys' 6th Super Bowl win, which is coming. So, yeah, if you won, hit us up. Let us know.
That part.
And if you're not, you better subscribe.
You
If
gotta
you're
be
not,
subscribed. Yeah, if you're not,
yeah.
if you give us everything and you're not subscribed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is. Hey, Adam, we give it away. We give it Fanatics and Tug Gear. Man, we can't just give it layup drills. Come on now. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know what it is right now as we conclude this thing. You know, when you get to the very end and the pastor's got to come out and deliver a little knowledge. By the way, Mary, did you get your Zeke candle yet?
No, it's
Update for the
they didn't
people.
have any more, but
Okay,
I'm going.
stay on it.
I'm going
Mary.
back to Dallas next week, so I'll check again.
Just
Okay.
buy a candle and tape a Zeke picture on it.
Oh, yeah, not paper, man. Yeah, not paper. Okay. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. The one, the only. Come on, Spoon. It's sermon time, baby. It is sermon time.
Uh-oh.
All right, Cowboys players, everybody have a seat. As we know, we lost the big statement game last week, 25-22, right? We lost to the team quarterback that called us ass, and we didn't respond the right way. So your assignment this week, I want you guys, I assigned VCRs. You will know what a VCR look like. I know you guys are young. VCR with some old Dallas Cowboy footage. I want you to look at what it meant to be a Dallas Cowboy, what it meant to wear a star on your helmet, how the team was, how they prepared before playoff time. Understand this. When you call us ass, we spanked that ass. We're not going to repeat what we happened last week. Understand me? Any questions? Nope. Defense, y'all can leave. Special teams, Mr. Greg, have a seat next to me. Offensive side of the ball, Dak and Coop, I want y'all to stay. Everybody else can leave. Now, I'm going to start off with you, Mr. Greg, the leg. Do you know Chris Bonio? No. Do you know Dan Bailey? No. I know you know Hallelujah. Hallelujah. That might not be, that's not his name, but I look at it as like Hallelujah. Why? Because every time he kicked the field goal, replacing you for the short time, we all say amen. Not one time did we feel nervous when he kicked that football. But when you kick a football, even an extra point, Cowboy fans are fucking nervous. Why? Because you're inconsistent. Dan Bailey never had a nickname. Chris Bonio never had a fucking nickname. You have a nickname. Why? We haven't seen that nickname produced like the way you're supposed to, the way we brought you in. So when we sign your fucking checks, it's not going to say the leg, just playing on Greg. That's it. You are just playing on Greg. You're not the leg. Because when you have a nickname, we want to see it. We should be sitting down late.
Spoon said your name is Gregory until further notice, sir. We're not going to call you Greg anymore.
What is going on here? I don't know.
What is he doing?
I don't. Just go ahead. We got you.
What are
go
you,
ahead.
What are you doing?
What are you
What is
doing,
he doing?
Sloan? I don't know. I'm scared. It was Pornhub. I don't know. Oh.
What is he? Okay.
Oh, you just take off the headset? Are you?
Testing. Excuse me. You hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that.
Okay.
None of those guys had a middle name, but they were consistent. We should not be sitting down, putting our hands together and say, please, let Greg make this field goal. Now, Greg, you came out and you made a statement today to the media. If I did my job, we win that game. How many fucking games are we going to keep hearing that same bullshit? The last time, do your history and understand in the playoffs, when kickers miss field goals and teams got to go bye-bye, they need to be escorted to the locker room like security. You know why? Because at the end of the day, Mr. Greg, all you do in camp is kick field goals and fucking jog. You don't tackle. Ooh. You don't do none of that bullshit. Get it together.
Shit. Okay.
Amari Cooper and Dak.
Wait, does Greg get to leave the room? Wait. Does Greg get to leave the room now?
No. Nope.
He needs to stay. He needs
I'm
to
not done with Greg. Amari Cooper and Dak. Listen. End of the day, we need y'all. It's media bullshit. Let's keep the shit in-house. Cool. We understand your pain. We understand everything, but here's another thing, cool. Stop being lazy. You missed games. You was out with COVID. You always knick-knack with injuries. To be honest, you haven't held up your end of the bargain just as much like that. You shouldn't be on the media the way you've been the last couple of games. Understand that. Calm that down. Keep it in-house. Work together. Okay? Understand me? Y'all dismissed. Kellen Moore. Wait, sit over there.
No Dak? No Dak? No, Kellen?
No. They good. They out the door.
Okay. That was too nice in my opinion.
Kellen Moore.
Mary, I don't know why you said that. This is about to be bad.
Kellen Moore, do you know Nerf Turner? Do you know Ernie Sampisi? Do you know Bill Callahan? Okay, those were offensive coordinators I loved. Cowboy Nation loved. We all loved. They knew what to do on the field. When defenses came out with a game plan, they knew how to go to halftime and take a different approach and do the best for this team to win. Kellen Moore, you was the Doogie Howser. Do you know what Doogie Howser is? Doogie Howser is a genius 16-year-old doctor, old TV show. Don't know if it's a true story now, but guess what? He was a genius. You were the Doogie Howser of the NFL. Now you're the fucking Kelly Bundy of the coordinators.
Well, damn.
You know what Kelly Bundy is? She spelled cat, K-A-T, not C-A-T. Kellen Moore. Jerry Jones signed you to a deal because he felt still hurt that he let Sean Payton walk. You know Sean Payton. I don't know. What the fuck does he see? You're not Sean Payton at all. Because Sean Payton knows how to fucking adjust. He has a quarterback who's an athlete right now, and they still are a game away from being the playoffs. Your ass is embarrassing us. He doesn't have half the fucking weapons that we have other than Kamara, and you're fucking struggling. You are trash. I hope your ass gets that Jacksonville Jaguars job. You need that fucking job. Go take your ass to the fucking Heat over there in Jacksonville with a rookie, with a second-year quarterback he will be, and maybe he may teach you something. He may teach you how to be a fucking coordinator. I got more faith in the blonde-headed quarterback over there in Jacksonville than I have in you as a coordinator. You are trash.
Okay.
Right now, Kellen Moore, when we go out to dinner and we get that food in our plate, that food, that nice dinner, and when we got a hair in that food, what do? We give it back to the restaurant. Listen, I don't want this food, or give my money back. Kellen Moore, you are that piece of hair in this great cowboy dish that we have here right now. You are making the cowboy dish look like shit and like crap with hair in it. Maybe even
preach, brother. Preach.
Understand that, Kellen Moore. I don't know if you understand what is to be a cowboy. Matter of fact, you know what? You still now I understand why Cowboy Nation have that Garrett syndrome shit. You know why? Because you're still here. You're part of that bullshit back there. Get his ass out of there. Kill him off. Get the fuck out of my room right now. Miss Mary, BJ, Professor, don't give him no fucking food at all. He don't deserve to eat.
You don't go hungry?
Matter of fact,
I feel like you went way easier on Greg.
hello? Khan? This is Tony Khan. Yes. You know what? Take him out. We don't want him no more. Take his ass right now. He's hired. He is hired. Ben McAdoo and Mike McCarthy will take care of his offense. We got it. Hang up.
All right.
Back to you, Greg.
Right.
Back to you,
Back to
Greg.
Greg. Back to Greg.
Greg. I let Kenneth Moore leave because I got to tell you some other things. All right? Here's the thing.
Oh, this thing extended cut.
Greg, did you not hear Miss Mary earlier where she said there was no wind? We play in Dallas, Texas. Was the air conditioner too much for you that you're missing field goals? I mean, I know it's good AC.
Extra points, Spoon. Extra points. Don't forget about those.
Greg, we need you. There's teams in there like the Rams, the Buccaneers, the Packers. It may come down to the field goal. Now, I understand if it's Green Bay, the frozen tundra, it's windy, it's snowy. Listen, I understand. How the fuck can we trust you in a dome? You can't make extra points on field goals in a dome. How can we trust you overall? Do we have to go for 2 points every fucking time?
Yes.
Is that what's needed?
Yes.
Seriously, Greg. Hey, seriously, talk to me. You got a back issue? Because we'll call hallelujah. Hallelujah's out there. We'll kick for you. Yeah, listen. Tell me, Greg, what can I do for you to get your confidence back? Hell, I talked to Stephen Steele. Look at him. I talked to McGovern. Look at him. Seriously.
Who's not wrong there? He did.
Why does it feel like he's really looking at Greg right now?
Seriously, Greg. Seriously. We need you. You're part of that 55-man roster. You're going to have a important part of this fucking game, this team. You're a very important part. I mean, let's be real. You have no hamstring injury. You ain't running as much. You're not tackling. What the fuck? Can we get this right? Can you be like Chris Bonia or Dan Bailey? Can you join that list? Because right now, I mean, shit. We are lost, Gregory.
Gregory.
Dismiss. Get out my locker room. Get out.
So what did Gregory say, Spoon?
It's quiet. My last people right here.
All right.
Cowboy fans.
All right.
You know, I don't be no disrespect to anybody here. It's on Twitter, Facebook, social media. You know, even BJ Nick's Twitter space, that shit is the bomb. It's very relaxing. It's like you at a bar with a date, a blind date with a nice drink. You just talking back. It's sweet. It's beautiful. But you know what fucks up my ears? What fucks up my ear is the whining. You see the shit we talked about today about how Amari Cooper, the X, Y, and Z, the rhythm. I understand that shit. But when it comes down to saying the things that is not even true, like everything is Dak Prescott for, or this and that and the third, do Bills fans do that about their quarterback? No. Do the Chiefs do that? Did they give up on Mahomes? No, they haven't. What the fuck? We are here in the last game of the season. We are 4 fucking games. 4. Number 4 seed. To go into the promised land that we have not seen in years.
Number 4 quarterback. 4.
Understand that, y'all. This is not the time to go out there and bitch and moan. This is the time to line up behind your team, to support your team. Have faith in that team. Regardless, we are in the playoff. We are in the tournament where we should not have been, according to Dan Orlovsky and Stephen A. Gutless Smith. Understand that.
Okay.
Embrace your team, dominate, and then we celebrate.
Dominate and celebrate.
All right.
Dominate and celebrate. I'm down for it.
Okay, dominate. So Can I speak now? Am I good?
Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure. Special K, hit it. Oh, there you go. Yeah, thank you, Special K. Hits with the drums. Get us out of here. And the congregation said, "Amen." Yeah, the congregation said, "Amen." Ooh, Lord, that was the extended cut there.
That was intense.
That was my goodness, Spoon. I don't even what I even say here.
Sorry,
I think everybody got it was like a drive-by. I think everybody caught a stray. I feel attacked. I ain't do nothing. I feel attacked. I don't even know what to.
I feel like Dak and Amari are walking down the hallway together, and Amari's like, "Why did I get yelled at? He didn't say anything to you." And then they hear Kellen Moore in the background. They're like, "Oh, we're good."
No, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, never mind. Never mind. That's what it is. Yeah, you dominate and celebrate, my guy. Yeah. With that being said, extra long tonight. We gave away a little swag to our guy earlier, Gibson, that ended up winning. We had Professor's class. We had students extended cut sermon. Talked about a little bit of things, and 4 seed, 4 playoff games, 4 at quarterback. 3 4s equals 12. Oh, Roger Staubach, numerology kind of stuff going on here, if you will. And in case you missed the news, Cowboys got an outside chance of hosting the Super Bowl this year. Don't know if y'all caught that or not. Kind of breeze underneath all the different things that were happening today, news-wise, Twitterverse, something like that, social media land. But the NFL has talked to Arlington already, and the Cowboys have already said, and the people of the powers that be there have said they're ready to go if need be. So if whatever happens, the COVID is a little outlandish for LA or whatever, we are the backup spot to the Super Bowl. And I tweeted that and said, man, the stars are aligning. Maybe they are. Again, I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to change what got Pete Spoon said, mine. But with that being said, stars aligning, things are happening. Once again, man, y'all know what it is. Every single 8 o'clock Wednesday, right here, you get the Star Gang live show with all of us in the building here. And of course, Friday nights on Twitter, or Friday evenings, 5 p.m., we do the Cowboys Happy Hour over there. We have a great time, great guests. Everybody gets to chime in and speak on it. And of course, if you do follow me on Twitter, your guy Nix, I do some late night Cowboys talks as well on top of the scheduled Friday. All these beautiful people on my screen, that's their Twitter handles. By all means, go follow them. Stargame Beauty, a.k.a. the Margarita One, Spoonie 881, Mr. Delivering the Sermon Passion, and then, of course, Professor O, giving you that classroom knowledge and what you need. So, with that being said, man, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. And, of course, man, YouTube, for those that are not on YouTube, I'm finally out of jail, so I'll be on Facebook again tonight. A whole nother story. But if you're not on YouTube, man, over there, Stargame Podcast, go hit the sub button for us, notification bell. You have a great one. Peace.